Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to another installment of Supes Disputes. This is the show where me and my friend, producer, talent manager, agent, and mega fan, Brad Lambert, come together to discuss the most trending superhero topics, most trending superhero news, as well as debate the most divisive superhero topics. However, today is more of a special episode. Today is a special episode dedicated to remembering, honoring, and celebrating the legacy of the great Chadwick Boseman. As most of you guys know, life was going pretty well. Life was pretty simple. And then on Friday night, we all got the notifications blowing up on our phones as kind of the whole world stopped spinning. It felt like almost all of us lost a family member. The breath was taken out of the world when we all got the notification that Black Panther actor and more just human being, Chadwick Boseman, passed away due to colon cancer at the age of 43 on Friday night. And when I first got this notification, guys, just to describe how I experienced all of this go down, I was in the middle of my living room watching a movie with my family. And then I had a friend call me. I declined the call because I was in the middle of watching a movie with my family. Then someone else called me. Then someone else called me. And then my notifications start blowing up. And I open up my phone for 1 second and I see Chadwick Boseman's face on it. And, that Friday night for me was just a night of just shock. I just couldn't believe it. Chadwick is someone who I think we all pretty much felt like was immortal. This was a guy who just was who was just so important to our culture, to humanity in general. I truly believe he was one of the most important humans walking the face of this planet, just for what he stood for. And it's bigger than just Black Panther. It's more of the human that was Chadwick Boseman and what he stood for and the things he did and the roles he took on, the roles that he went out of his way to take on. Because he didn't just play Black Panther, he played historical figures that showed a new generation the beauty and the importance of these historical figures. Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall, James Brown, and so many more. I mean, just the list goes on and on. And, the highlight of his career, when his family did tweet out the announcement of his passing, at the bottom of it, it said that the honor of his career was bringing to life the character of T'Challa and Black Panther. And I think, Brad, we can both agree on this, that he changed the world. He changed the world just with this one role. If we exclude all of the other roles that he changed the world with, just looking at this one character of Black Panther and what that brought onto the scene, into the massive landscape of comic book films, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that was slowly just taking over Hollywood, taking over the movie industry, to see an African-American man as the king of a country step onto the scene, be a badass, be a guy who represents wisdom, knowledge, just so much. And to have African-American kids around the world now having a superhero that they can relate to, a superhero that they don't feel awkward dressing up when it comes time for Halloween, a superhero that they can play with their action figures. And man, just the day after was personally just way harder than that Friday night, because Friday night was more of a night of just shock, disbelief, because it's unfathomable the fact that Chadwick Boseman has just now passed away from cancer. And the next day, it was just so tough. I think not just for myself, but for every single fan of Chadwick's, for every single human being, because even if you weren't really a huge nerd, a huge hardcore fan of the Marvel movies, you know what Chadwick Boseman was all about. You know what he stood for, and you know the impact that he had on this planet, on this race of humans. And man, I think just the most heartbreaking part of this entire story is the fact that Chadwick was diagnosed back in 2016. And he did all of this while having cancer. He played Black Panther, brought that character to life while having cancer. He would visit kids in hospitals with cancer while he was fighting a similar battle, and he kept it all a secret. When I heard that, when I heard that, it was just it didn't it surprised me. But if there was any human being that could pull this off, it was Chadwick Boseman. It was Chadwick Boseman, because we all know how strong this man was. We all know how strong his spirit was, his love, his passion for just making the world a better place. We all know how much he had that in him. And, you know, for him to do all of this, for him to act in Marvel movies, which aren't no Joe Schmo movies, these movies take a lot out of these actors. I mean, I had an interview recently with Bobby Holland Hansen, and just from the stories he told, you guys know how hard it is to star in these Marvel movies. And the fact that he did all of that with cancer, it's just the true definition of a superhero. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is something that just that alone, that action alone of having a guy with cancer star as Black Panther in in multiple Marvel movies, that is unfathomable. And Chadwick Boseman did the impossible. And the fact that he just didn't tell anyone, he didn't want that recognition because he was living what was true to him. He didn't need the applause from the world. He didn't need the cheers, the recognition, because he knew that he was just doing what he loves. He was making the world a better place. And he didn't need the applause from anyone because he was just doing what was true to him. It's a heartbreaking situation. Again, one thing I do want to address before we continue the rest of today's episode, which is strictly for remembering, celebrating, and honoring Chadwick Boseman. I want to give a huge shout out to this GoFundMe that, this was the first bit of action that I took Friday night because, there's so many things in this life that we can't control. This is a situation that we can't control. But what we can control is the action that we take moving forward. So with that being said, I had started a GoFundMe to raise money for colon cancer research, which is the tragic disease that took Chadwick's life. And we've come together and raised over $1,500 already. The goal is to reach $10,000. So I strongly encourage you guys to step up, take action, and join the fight. There, again, like I said, there's so many things that we can't control. But what we can control is the action we take moving forward. And now it's time for us to step up. In the middle of a worldwide pandemic, in the middle of a world that's mourning one of their heroes, it's time for new heroes to arise. I mean, I feel like that's been the lesson of this entire year. Everyone keeps on saying, screw 2020, screw 2020. I think this has shown us that now it's time. It's time for superheroes to arise. It's time for people to start living to their true potential, to start taking action, because not a second of this life is guaranteed. And man, if there's anyone that showed us that nothing in this life is guaranteed, it's Chadwick Boseman. And that's why with this initiative, with this GoFundMe, I honor him, I respect him, and I celebrate him as now we come together to just honor his legacy and join the fight towards fighting a disease that not only took his life, but takes so many other people's lives. Because this just became an issue that became personal for us. I think a lot of us have family members that tragically passed away from cancer, but we just lost one of our heroes, one of the most important people to walk the face of this planet, a person that was so dear to all of our hearts. And I think now more than ever, it's time for us to find it in our hearts to take action, to be selfless, to live as heated. And, I was looking on social media and the Russo brothers, the directors of Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, put up a post. And at the bottom of the post, in the caption, it said, the best way to honor Chadwick is to emulate him. Live as heated, live selflessly, live with passion, live with love, and live with a hunger to make the world a better place. You don't need to be rich. You just need to have it in you to go out of your way to be creative, to find different ways to give back to this world. So with that being said, guys, the link to the GoFundMe is in the description of this video. Please go. Every single one of those donations is highly appreciated. And with that being said, Brad, I'm going to kick it to you. Just describe where you were when you found out this news, what you felt, and just your thoughts about this whole tragic situation.
Funny enough, I found out because of you. You called me, and I was at a screening of New Mutants, actually. There was a drive-in down the street, so I was able to get to the movies in some capacity, although it be in my car. But you called me, and honestly, I we get these stories on a daily basis where it's like so and so passed away. We're like, yeah, fake, 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 fake. People are looking for clout or whatever. But this was so different because when you called and I heard your voice, I knew something was wrong. The tone, you sounded distraught and upset, rightfully so. And but then when you said he died of cancer, I was like, dude, no way. No, we haven't heard a word. That doesn't make any sense. And I got off the phone with you and I went through Twitter and all the notes and messages and texts, and it was devastating, man. I mean, Chadwick was a hero on and off screen, a guy who lived with passion and led with kindness. Like you said, a guy who was battling cancer himself, who would visit kids in the hospital who are also battling cancer. And that is ultimate strength. Even when you're hurting or suffering in some way, shape, or form, to still have it in your heart to be kind to others, that is true strength. And Chadwick kept this news to himself and to, I'm sure, his inner circle. And he did that because he didn't want to be defined by cancer. He wanted to be defined by his work and his impact that he left on this planet, which I'd say is something that we should all strive to do and to be. So, we love you, man.
100%. 100%. And again, it just feels unfathomable that I'm making this video.
Yeah.
I'm on Friday night, I remember I fired up my camera and I just started speaking from the heart. I never posted that video because, to be honest, I barely said any words because I was just speechless.
Yeah.
I was just speechless. And there's a lot of people out there on social media that I feel like it's a very common response for when we lose someone as important as Chadwick was to all of us, to automatically default to, all right, how does this affect the rest of my life? How does this affect, the movies? And there was a lot of people on social media talking about what are they going to do with Chadwick's Black Panther and Black Panther 2? How are they going to move forward with his character? And I just want to make it very clear that we are not going to be talking about any of that today, because today isn't about Black Panther. Today is about Chadwick Boseman. And even though Black Panther was a huge part of that, this is about Chadwick and what he stood for and the amazing human being that he was.
And it's disrespectful to even bring that up and have these discussions or articles right now. A man lost his life. His family lost a husband, a son. Like, this is not a joke. This is it's bigger than film. It's bigger than comics. It's bigger than any of that. He was a human being.
Yeah.
We need to respect that. So it's not important. Whatever happens, happens. But right now, it's about celebrating a good man who did good things for this world.
100%. And, again, I just saw on social media a bunch of people talking about what Marvel's going to do with this character. How are they going to move forward? And, man, I just see the complete other side of that coin, which was people who found it disrespectful and people going out of their ways to attack those people. Guys, if there's one thing Chadwick stood for, it's to love one another. It's to love each other. It's to use this one life to spread love and positivity and just bring people to the next level.
Yep.
How are we going to do that if after this man's death, his fans, the first thing they do is they're lashing out at other people. They're hating on other people. If there's one thing he taught us, is to use this life to spread love. So the best way, again, like I said, the best way to honor Chadwick is to live as he did.
Yeah.
Just because there's people online disrespecting him, disrespecting that his legacy by talking about, what Marvel's going to do next, it doesn't mean us as passionate fans that really just cared about the human being that he was. It doesn't validate us going out of our way to continue to spread hate and negativity in this world.
Yep.
When Chadwick spent his whole life fighting for love, fighting to make this world a better place.
Yep.
And that coming from a place of hatred, coming up from a place of frustration isn't going to get us anywhere. And I get that everyone here is ultimately Everyone here is coming from a place of hurt. Everyone here is coming from a place of loss. But I think that's where our growth comes. Our growth comes when we can learn how to overcome that, learn how to, through the hatred, through the pain, through the frustration, through the disparity, through all of that, still finding a way to love one another, still finding a way to spread love and default to love every single time something like this happens. And again, me and Brad aren't going to talk about any of that stuff because we just don't feel in our rights that in our hearts that it's right. Because I mean, if we just look at Chadwick, he kept his secret to the day he died for 4 years. I think it's pretty safe to say that we can not have these conversations for a little bit longer. I mean, people
Yeah.
are already having these conversations about what they're going to do in Black Panther 2. Chadwick kept his secret for 4 years. Can we please have some level of respect? Can we please have some level
Dignity.
of just empathy? Empathy
Yeah.
for his family, empathy for the people he was closest to. And man, again, my heart goes out to his family, the people closest to him, his co-stars, the people he worked with, because they're probably just destroyed right now. And I feel like, again, it's up to us, the people who weren't that close to him, but still adored him. It's up to people like us to, right now in times like this, to spread love, to love one another, to honor his legacy by living as he did. So, Brad, judging off of the just amazing life that was Chadwick Boseman's, do you have any just stories, any just encounters, maybe any just anything you remember from Chadwick's life that kind of just hit you deeply and resonated with you to this day?
I actually had the pleasure of meeting Chadwick back in 2015, right after he was cast as Black Panther. It was at the Age of Ultron premiere, and he was literally like, it had to have been a week or two, maybe three after him being cast. It was very fresh. And Marvel generally has, uh, talent in some way, shape, or form, whether it be actor, director, producer of upcoming projects or, connected projects come to these events. Everybody, it's one big family. That's what makes Marvel so amazing. So it was no surprise that Chadwick was there. And I grabbed him on the carpet and just congratulated him. And he had just come off of the movie Draft Day, which was a film about the NFL draft and his character's story, Vontae Mack. And it I am a huge football fan, as you know, so I thoroughly enjoyed that film. I thought it really took an inside look at not only the business side of the NFL from the GM to ownership of a team, but also what the players are dealing with on that significant day that changes their life. So I loved Chadwick's performance in that film, and I told him that on the carpet, and he was just kind of baffled that I even saw that film because it wasn't a Marvel movie, it wasn't a grand, big budget production. And he was just super kind and generous. And we chatted for a few minutes on the carpet, and I let him get back to his business. But, you know, we've been at a lot of the same events, and I know a bunch of people who know him personally. And it's just, I respected him well beyond his incredible work, but more so for the person he was off screen, where he did take his time to be kind to everybody, to do that Wakanda salute every single day, and just show love and compassion and empathy for others, and for him to keep this secret. My goodness, what a strong human being he was, and what he did for the industry as a whole, not just for comics and superheroes. I mean, he opened up representation across the board in entertainment. Now
Yeah.
you have Shang-Chi coming out,
Yep.
with an Asian led character. That's never happened before in superhero films. So it's just amazing, what he did, and how he embraced it. And, early on in his career, he was stereotypically cast. And as awful as that was and unfair as that was, he took it upon himself to stand up and say, I'm not playing these stereotypical roles. And he
Hmm.
fought against that, and that honestly cost him some opportunities. But he knew who he was, and he stood up for it, and he didn't settle for anything less. And that's what led him down the path of Jackie Robinson and James Brown and, Thurgood Marshall and people like that, where you're just like, man, you talk about this guy's career and it was not long, but man, was it powerful and just game changing across the board. And yeah, man, it's a devastating loss. I mean, after you talked to me that night, my heart was heavy. My chest literally hurt. Like I was grieving because I'm a person who really respects and admires kindness and empathy, and that's why I respect you so much. You're a good person,
Thank you, brother.
and in a world where it's a lot of hate and negativity, people like that are so pure and so rare, and to lose somebody like that, it was just a massive loss to the betterment of humanity and this world and specifically this country. And like you said, we got to step up and kind of do what we can to take that back and do what we can to emulate him and respect him, and you know his legacy will live on forever. And I think
100%.
we all saw how much he meant by just the overwhelming support and outpouring of love by everybody. I mean, I think we all wish that we could, be remembered that way in a positive light from an impactful standpoint. I mean, we have a limited amount of time on this earth. How do you want to be remembered? Think about it. Your choices define that. And Chadwick made all the right choices. And it was never about him. It was about everybody else. The character of Black Panther, T'Challa, was a massive opportunity for him. But at that time, I'm pretty sure he knew he had cancer at that point. So he knew he had a limited amount of time, and he knew that this was well beyond just him. It was about that community, that culture, and what he would do for the industry as a whole. And man, did he
Yeah.
did he knock it out of the park, man? And I don't know if you read Ryan Coogler's message today, but what a beautifully penned celebratory statement of Chadwick Boseman's life. And he even said he didn't even know, and that's saying a lot because they were good friends and they worked together a lot.
Yeah.
So it just shows you how close he kept this, and I don't think you can fault him for that. And that just shows you how selfless he is
Hmm.
because he didn't want sympathy. He didn't want that. He just wanted to live his life to the fullest with the time that he had left. And I will say this, we all have an unknown, finite amount of time on this planet. And I think if we all took that a little bit more seriously, we would live very differently day in and day out. Um, you know, I said on social media the other day, I said, make the most of the time you have. Tell the people you love them and you appreciate them. I don't care if you say it every day because once they're gone and there's nothing you can do or say about it. So, the choices you make matter and how you treat people matters. So, I think if we all kind of use this as a wake up call to really kind of define our path moving forward day in and day out and how we interact with people and how we treat people and what we do and what we say, it's I would hope we'd make different choices and live a different life for the better, because a lot of people live very uh, carelessly, and they think they're going to live till they're 85, and I hope they do. But I think by this we can see that things happen that we can't control and it's out of our hands, and that's why you need to be kind and live with love and just make the most of every second of every day.
And, when it comes to the concept of time, I think it's so undervalued. I mean, the amount of just amazing things we can do in such a short amount of time is so undervalued.
Yeah,
Chadwick was only 43 years of age, and look what he did. Imagine what we all could do when the majority of us are going to live till we're 80, 90, live double Chadwick's life. Imagine
yeah,
what we could do. Imagine the power we possess. So it's up to us to take advantage of the privilege of time that we all have. And who knows? We could die tomorrow. Who knows?
100%.
But if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die knowing that I gave it my all. I'm gonna die knowing that I spent every second, every day trying to make this world a better place, trying to leave it better than I found it.
And you are.
And you know, we all are to some extent, but there's always another level we could reach.
100%. And the problem with today is a lot of people just only care about themselves and they don't really care about others or things of that nature. So it's important to just live life without just solely your well-being and that's it, and being very complacent about everybody else because, you know, I make it a point to call my family each and every day. It may be annoying. Sometimes I call my mom 5 times a day, but I don't know how long I'm gonna have her. So
Mm-hmm.
why would I worry about annoying her or, oh, I've talked to her enough today? Like, dude, like you just don't know. So for me, that's so important to call my friends and my family, and I'm a emotional guy because I'm a very outward person when it comes to my feelings and my emotions, and I tell the people I care about them quite often, and I think you've seen that in the short amount of time that we've known each other. But um, you have to do that, man, because like I said, once they're gone, you're going to be left with regret one way, shape, or form. So you better make sure you limit that as much as you possibly can, where it's, oh man, I only talked to them 5 times yesterday, instead of, wow, I haven't talked to them in 5 months.
100%. I can't emphasize that enough. And right before Chadwick passed, this was a story that just absolutely blew my mind. I decided to take this upon myself to share this amazing story on social media, it ended up catching fire, grossing over 2.8 million views in a day. So it just goes to show how much this story has impacted people. And this story is a story about Chadwick Boseman. It's a story about his love, his passion, his just hunger to make this world a better place. And he took that to his deathbed when he died. So, obviously the entire world changed with the coronavirus pandemic. All of our lives changed to a certain extent. And, with the world changing so much, with unemployment rates going through the roof, people losing jobs, with a lot of people losing loved ones, Chadwick took it upon himself to start with, as he's speaking with cancer, mind you, to start an operation that would donate $4 million to help service African American community hospitals during this COVID season. Again, during the middle of a worldwide pandemic that has never happened in history, where a lot of hospitals are running out of equipment, a lot of hospitals are running out of supplies. Chadwick, as he's battling with stage 3 colon cancer, goes out of from literally from his home because he's quarantined, goes out of his way to start launch an operation that would donate $4 million to help service African American community hospitals. And then, when Chadwick launched this campaign, he decided to hop on an Instagram live to announce to the world that this was happening. And all of the comments, all of the responses were people judging him, people making fun of him based on his appearance, because Chadwick was already at the time very ill. He was losing weight. It was clear from his physical appearance that he wasn't healthy. But people decided to make fun of him. As with stage 3 colon cancer, he's going out of his way to launch an operation that's going to save a lot of people's lives. That's going to make a huge difference in the world today. And, you know, just thinking that Chadwick kept this secret in him this entire time, and just thinking that, when it was finally becoming obvious that he wasn't ill, just thinking that he went, just thinking that he left, knowing what the world how the world would have reacted if they actually found out his secret. And that not being a good one because people were making fun of him.
Yep.
It hurts me.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I mean, Chadwick went to a preseason game last year for the Steelers. He was in Pittsburgh. I'm assuming he was there for work at some capacity, maybe filming something. But I saw a bunch of pictures of him on the field, and he looked noticeably thin. And my first thought was not negative. and the nonsense and just embarrassing stuff that you saw on social media, my gut was he's not well. And that was not a derogatory negative thing. It was he's sick. Um, and I was hoping I was wrong. And then when nothing came out about it, like there was no announcement shortly after or anything along those lines, I was like, okay, maybe he's just slimmed down for a role. But there was still just like this pit in my stomach that
Hmm.
noticing even in Endgame, like from Civil War, granted it was a different costume design, to
Hmm.
Black Panther slimming down again, and then in Endgame he looked even thinner. I was like, something's just not adding up, and I was just praying that I was wrong. Um, and then when I got that news, my first thought went back to that picture I saw him at the Steeler game, bro, and I just it really hurts my heart that there's so much hate pent up in so many people in this world. And people say dark humor this, dark humor that, and it's just disgusting, it's embarrassing, and it's just sad because I think when you're growing up you don't understand a lot, and you may say things you don't understand, but when you're 30, 40, 50 years old, there's no excuse to say things like that anymore. There is no, oh well, I was kidding. Nah, dude. There's nothing that you could say when you're an absolute adult, peak adult, where you can look back and say, I was just kidding, man. It was a joke. Like
Hmm.
educate yourself on many subjects in today's world that seem to be glaring issues. Educate yourself because you look like an idiot and you need to educate yourself. Period. Because
Yeah.
right now it's not funny. It's not. Saying that stuff that they said about Chadwick, who is fighting with severe cancer at the time, it's disgusting.
Yeah. And again, there's a lot of these people in the world, but I don't think the solution to it is to act out in hatred towards these people. Do you think I want to go and see these people that were making fun of Chadwick and he's looking at these comments, he's looking at these replies? Do you think I want to go and stick them in the face? Yes. Yes, I do. I very much want to. But that's not the solution. That's not going to solve anything. Hatred is what Chadwick used his life to fight against. So
100%.
it would be disrespectful of me to act out in hatred towards these people.
And let me interrupt you real quick. There's a line in Black Panther where he goes, I never yielded. And as you can see, I am not dead. And that line hits different now because, man, he fought cancer till the bitter end. And
Mm-hmm.
that is just, that shows you who and what he is. And I also saw recently an interview he did with David Letterman,
Mm-hmm.
and this was apparently 2 months into his treatment. And Letterman said, you know, what's Chadwick Boseman look like in 10 years?
Yeah.
And oh man, that's just heartbreaking, man. Like, and Chadwick even said, he was like, you could see like he was fighting
Yeah. In his
for
face.
what he wanted to say and how to respond to this. But he was just like, I just want to be happy and I want to make my family happy and as many other people happy as I can. And it was just, going back to that interview he had with Sirius XM for Black Panther when he was in the director chair, and he kind of broke down talking about the kids with cancer and how they were saying, I just have to survive long enough to see this movie. That just, all that hits different now, man. Like you just know that this guy simultaneously was battling cancer himself. And it's just it's just sad, man. It's just sad. And like you said, all we can really do now is, make the most of the time we personally have on this earth to impact people's lives in a positive way. And like you said, you don't need money to do that. Uh, we talked about this multiple conversations ago. It's just a little bit of happiness goes a long way. And you can do that with a simple gesture, texting someone saying you love and appreciate them, complimenting somebody, opening a door for somebody figuratively and literally, just helping others because you can and not expecting anything in return. And, you know, It's just, once again, I challenge you. How do you want to be remembered? Think about that. If you pass tomorrow, how are you going to be remembered? And I hope it's in a nice, positive way.
100%. 100%. And, you know, with Chadwick living such an amazing life, I felt that it was only right for this episode for us to amplify the message that he spent his life drilling into people's brains. I mean,
Yep.
we've all probably seen clips from Chadwick giving that speech at that college graduation, clips in interviews where he's just trying to inform people, to educate people on how to just truly live this life to the fullest. So today we're going to take a couple of the life lessons we've learned from Chadwick Boseman and just reiterate them, emphasize them, because this is what he wanted the world, this is what he wanted us to know. So I felt it's so important to just acknowledge this, amplify this, and share this with other people. So one of the first lessons is something that he lived with. I mean, for him to keep this secret for 4 years, to not tell anyone, to answer these interview questions of what his life is going to look like in 10 years, knowing that he's probably not going to make it in 10 years. To have that level of humility is truly superhuman. And one thing Chadwick really wanted to advocate people to do is to not seek anyone's approval. Live your truth. He has a quote where he's talking about actors, and he tells actors, aspiring actors all the time, to never seek approval from the audience. Just act, do, and live what's true to you. And Brad, do you have any thoughts on that lesson? Because I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, I feel like people like me and you, people that have gone out of our way to take the risks that might end us in pretty tough situations. People
Yeah.
like us that have taken those risks to live our truth, to do what we love.
Yeah. You have to know you. And Chadwick said that many times. Like, who are you? What are you? What is your purpose? Like, what drives you? And when you're able to understand that, you may be thrown through the ringer and dealt with so many tough, difficult things, but you can't waver. You can't change because of that adversity or those challenges. I mean, and we're faced with opportunities to, you know, go low and get back at somebody who did us wrong, or uh, be hateful just for the sake of being hateful because we're angry or something like that. It's always about taking the high road, man. You know, it's knowing you, knowing that I want to take it upon myself. This is me speaking personally, to impact as many people as I can in a positive way. Like like I said, this hit me so hard because I know that's what he did, and I respect that beyond anything else. Is how you treat other people. I don't care if you're a celebrity or not. I just like that's what matters most. And he did that, man. I mean, that's what he did day in and day out on set. The people he worked with, like, you hear all the time these celebrities treating, assistants and things of that nature just horrible. Why? But Chadwick would go up, give him a hug, tell him he loved and appreciated them, and that was it, right? Like that's what we all should be doing. And the humility to understand that, and regardless of whether you're a celebrity or not, staying grounded and staying true to yourself no matter how successful you become. And that's something in regards to that lesson that I think is really important.
Yep. And then coming off of what you just said, another lesson that he really this was probably his main thing that he wanted to emphasize and just ingrain into people's brains is to find your purpose.
Yep.
Don't chase a dream job. Don't chase a career. Chase a purpose. Something that isn't man-made, something that just comes from inside of your soul,
Yep.
that drives you to do something,
Yep.
whether it is to inspire people, whether it is to end world hunger, I don't know, just to just spread love and positivity, whatever the case may be. Find your purpose. And
Yep.
if you don't know what your purpose is, then you have a responsibility to go discover that.
It's
Again,
on
like
you.
exactly everything in this life is on us, 100%. And That's one thing Chadwick really wanted to emphasize into all of us, because we're all bigger than our purpose,
Yeah,
our daily jobs. This is bigger than our purpose. We I don't have to film a video to fulfill my purpose, because I could go in my living room, tell my mom I love her, and right there in that moment I'm fulfilling my purpose.
100%. And we talked about this before, but you know, I told you my purpose. I want to impact and help as many people as I can in a positive way, and spreading kindness and happiness, and looking at what I do for a living. I'm a producer, I'm a talent manager, and I'm a speaker. All three of those things are in service of others. It's helping and assisting others. All three of those things individually. So it's a life of service. And that is so fulfilling to me, because I know at the end of the day, each and every day, that I'm helping someone pursue their dreams, or making them a better person, impacting them in a positive way. There's nothing better than that, and doing it selflessly, because it's not about me, it's about the people I'm serving,
Mhm.
right? And that's my purpose. And I have chased my passions, which you can see behind me, and done what I had to do in a good way to make that a part of my purpose. That's the perfect marriage, man. Passion and purpose. And that's what Chadwick did. And I urge all of you to find out who you are and what your purpose is. What is your why, right? Why do you do what you do? And then go out there and make a positive change, because, you know, I put something up on social media yesterday. Aspire to inspire, to create positive change in the world.
Mhm.
And that's what I try to do day in and day out. If I can post something that impacts somebody else in a positive way, then I've done my job, even if it's one person. And you, my friend, with your 1 point almost 5 million followers, you do that with each and every video. You spread positivity,
Thank you,
you
brother.
spread passion, you spread kindness, and we need more people like you that have big platforms. And that's something that at 18 years old I really respect about you, because not a lot of 18-year-olds are as selfless or aware of what they're doing as you are. And you've married your passion and purpose, and you're doing it through Supes and superheroes. So much respect and love, bro.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. And another thing that, kind of goes hand in hand with what Brad was saying, is that I don't think we should undermine the impact that we make. It's very easy for me to post a very inspirational video that impacts a lot of people's lives, and for me to downplay that on myself, and for me to feel like I'm not impacting the world. I'm impacting people's lives, and I recognize that. And I think a lot of times we're just too hard on ourselves.
100%. I, especially after this whole thing, I was constantly just like over analyzing and putting so much pressure on myself. Like, man, I'm not doing enough, and I'm not doing enough for others. And it wasn't about me. It wasn't like, man, I need to be in the next superhero movie. It was like, I'm not impacting the world enough.
Hmm.
Like, Chadwick wasn't remembered, and didn't get the outpouring of love because he was Black Panther. It was so much bigger than that.
So much bigger.
So much bigger than that. He was
Mhm.
not remembered to that extent because he played a character or characters in movies. He was remembered for who he was as a person and his talents on screen.
Yep.
That is why he is getting the love he's getting. His true character, himself.
Hmm.
And that's like I said, that's what I aspire, at the end, when my book closes, I hope I'm in the zip code of his level of integrity and impact and purpose, because that's what everyone should aspire to be, is someone like that. That's a true hero.
1000%. And, when you're pursuing a life of purpose, as Chadwick wants us all to do, it's not easy. It's not easy. There's a lot of risk you have to take. There's a lot of L's you have to take. There's a lot of failure you have to
Any
face.
L's? Yeah,
And this is a quote straight from Chadwick Boseman. He says, "The struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose."
100%.
And when you view it in that light, it's almost like you have a genuine, just good relationship with failure, because
You have to.
now failure becomes as it becomes as kind of like a model for you to just
Yeah,
fit in. If you're a circle and you have to fit into a square, you're not gonna fit when you go in at first.
this is
You
true.
have
This is true.
you have to experience that failure. You have to become something else in order to truly reach your full potential. And that's what Chadwick wanted us all to do, live a life of purpose. And again, guys, it's not easy. There's going to be a lot of hard work. There's going to be a lot of struggles, a lot of judgment from a lot of other people. Again, Chadwick was someone with all the good he did in the world. He was judged. He was made fun of.
Look, here's the thing. So many people judge because it's so much easier to sit at home in your chair, on your bed, on the couch, and just talk shit about people than it is to actually get off your ass and go do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I hope you guys are enjoying that lifestyle, but while you sit there and talk shit about people who are actually making a difference in the world, you are not.
Yeah. And, I just have empathy for people who are out there just judging others
Yeah,
because
100%. I feel bad for them.
at the end of the day, if you're living the lifestyle with the mindset that you have to tear down everyone else's building to make yours the tallest building in town, then it's something that's going to lead you towards a life of a lot of pain, a life with
You're
a
already
lot of
there. You're already there. You have too much hate in your heart if you're already doing that.
100%. And through all the judgment, Chadwick continued to fight, and that's one of the other lessons that I wanted to address. One of the things Chadwick wanted to always influence into people is to be a fighter. You're going to face a lot of judgment, a lot of failures, a lot of backlash, but through it all, can you still make it? You know you can still make it. We all can still make it. We all have the power inside us to make it. It's all a matter of deciding, are we going to continue to push forward and pull through? Are we going to continue to fight? And man, I think Chadwick almost intentionally wanted this lesson to be ingrained with all of us with his life. He's someone who, he knew we were going to find out about his secret, the secret that he kept. He knew we were going to find out because that's how he was going to be taken from us. But through it all, now he's probably looking down on us just with gratitude, fulfilled from the reaction of this world that's mourning for him. And judging off of his life, he was the definition of a fighter, diagnosed with cancer in 2016, right before he played Black Panther in Captain America Civil War. He bulks up for Black Panther and Captain America Civil War. Then he goes to completely change the world with Black Panther, then Avengers Infinity War, then Avengers Endgame. And in between, he's pulling out roles, Thurgood Marshall, The Five Bloods,
21
21
Bridges.
Bridges. So much. Wow, he has cancer. He was the definition of a fighter.
Yeah.
And when we're living a life of purpose, when we're going through struggles, which is going to happen to all of us, whether we choose to live a life of purpose or not, it's our job to still choose to fight. I think we kind of owe it to Chadwick in a way to still push forward, to still pull through, to still fight, because he was the living embodiment of resilience. He was the living embodiment of just pushing forward and never letting anything hold him back. So now with the final lesson, which is the lesson I kind of think we've all gotten ingrained in our system with, with not only with the loss of Chadwick, but with the loss of Kobe Bryant early on in this year. Our clock is ticking. Our clock is ticking. Not a second of this life is guaranteed. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity. It doesn't matter how much you've impacted this world, because one thing we can't control is how much time we have left. It's just the harsh truth. This is a part of life. And because death is a part of life, it's almost something that we have to have gratitude for. Because as Chadwick once said as Black Panther, in our culture, death is more of a stepping off point. So our time is coming. Our clocks are ticking. What are we going to do with the time we have left? Are we going to sit around and let the fear of judgment, let the fear of failure hold us back from really pursuing what we love? Or are we going to do as Chadwick did, push forward, be a fighter, Live with love, purpose, and passion and resilience for everything in this life. So, Brad, I'm sure you could give some thoughts about Chadwick's final lesson of the day because our clocks are ticking.
Yeah, I mean, it's I kind of spoke on it earlier. Like, my life's not perfect. I'm sure yours isn't either. Um, but we still lead with kindness and fight through our own adversities. And we are all going through it right now with the pandemic and the situations that are effects of that. So I think the one thing is to just make sure that, look, I could go tomorrow, and that's not up to me. So I'm going to live today to the best of my ability and make sure I leave today with good vibes and impact, and obviously telling everybody I care about, how much I love them and what they mean to me, and never holding anything inside and not waiting for anything. If you like a girl, tell her. If you want to pursue a different career, go do that. Don't wait. Don't wait. Oh, maybe next year I'll try. No, just go do it now.
Mhm.
If you fail, pick yourself back up and try again. You will fail. That's why you need to pick yourself back up and go again. So that's the other thing. It's just keep going. This life is not easy. Um, it's more difficult for most, but Chadwick was dealt a rotten hand, and he made the last 4 years, not only personally but professionally, just remarkable. I mean, that's just what he's accomplished in that time professionally, the art, the work that he did, and then what he did off screen with visiting hospitals and donating and investing money for better causes to make the world a better place. It's just like I said, that's someone that I respect and admire so much, and he's definitely impacted my life with his personal and professional work. So, you know, I'm now even more motivated to get out and leave a lasting impact, and try to impact the industry in a positive way, like he did.
Yep. And it's an understatement to say that the world was in pain when we heard this news. And I know that there may still be a lot of you guys out there, it may be you watching this video, that are still in pain. That this loss of this man that held such a special place in all of our hearts, that may have been the thing that just puts you on track. Because guys, if I'm being honest, I haven't filmed. I've barely filmed any videos since Chadwick's death because it doesn't feel right to talk about any other superhero news when Chadwick Boseman has passed. It just
When we
doesn't.
just lost one.
Exactly. And it doesn't feel right to do anything else. And yesterday I kind of spent the day to myself, and I was just thinking, I was journaling, I was just in my thoughts. And I know it could be hard for a lot of us to bounce back from experiencing a tragic death like this. I mean, right now there's a lot of people losing a lot of loved ones, and that could very well be something that takes you down to a very dark place, and it's hard to come out of that place. But I think, you know, if there's one thing Chadwick wanted all of us to do, is to use the time we have left to just do what we can. And, I was put yesterday, when I was kind of spent the day to myself, I was just in a place of just kind of just a standstill. Like I was paralyzed almost. Like I just didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
But now I've had my time. Now it's time to bounce back. Now it's time to come back stronger than ever because, again, Chadwick taught us all to use this one life, live it to the fullest. And we don't have, not a second of this life is guaranteed. We don't have any time to play any games. So now it's time to come back stronger than ever. And I urge you guys to make that decision today, to make that promise to yourself that right now you're going to come back stronger than ever, not just for Chadwick, but for yourself. Not just for the applause, not for the applause of the world, the applause you're going to get, because it's the right thing to do. It's what's true to you. And I urge all of us to live a life of truth the same way Chadwick did, because there's a lot of people that spend their lives living a lie, and you can make it. You could. There's been plenty of celebrities that live their life and it being a lie, but because it's a lie, it doesn't lead to a very good place.
And don't live with regret either. So it's
Not.
your job to
Mm-hmm.
live in a way that you limit the regrets that you have. Because if you're focused on that,
Yep.
you will live with little regret, and that's the best place to be. But that's just being so on top of it that you make the right choices and you're leading a life that you're discussing. Because yeah, I don't want anyone to suffer with that level of regret.
100%. And guys, if you're in that dark place today, reach out. Chadwick said this quote, but I may be butchering it, but it's just off the top of my head. During times of tragedy, the weak build bridges, and the weak build barriers, and the strong build bridges. And I think that's what we all kind of need to do in a way, because together we are so much stronger. Together we are so much stronger. We are all so powerful individually. We all possess so much power individually, but when we come together is when we do the most work. It's when that we make the most impact. And that's been one of the biggest privileges of me doing Supes, because I've been able to connect with so many of you guys, so many passionate fans, so many amazing people. Time and time again, we've been able to come together to celebrate not just Chadwick during times like this, but the legacies of people like Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, the characters they left behind for us to honor, the characters that they left behind for us to love, the comics, the games, the movies, just everything that represents superheroes, and making the decision to embody them in our own lives. It's been the biggest privilege of my career. It'll always be the biggest privilege of my career, and I couldn't thank you guys enough. I couldn't be more grateful. So with that being said, guys, again, the links to the GoFundMe are in the description of this video. You don't have to have money to find ways to give, because you can have zero money and find ways to be creative. And then through that creativity, you find ways to make this world a better place.
And look, if you have $5, $5.
If you
We're
have a
not
penny,
asking, yeah, we're not asking for $50 million here.
mm-hmm.
Every little bit counts, and it's all going to charity. So pitch in and let's make a difference.
And the truth of the matter is that a lot of people like to say, "Oh, when I'm a millionaire, that's when I'll give back." If you don't give $1 out of $10, you're not going to give $1 million out of $10 million.
This is true.
So if you're on the path to becoming a millionaire, and I admire you for that, I admire you to start giving now, because the truth is that when you're on a path to riches, to an abundance of wealth, the only way to get there is by spending your life in a mentality of giving back to other people.
And we talked about this just a little bit ago, man.
Mm-hmm.
We said, "Oh, I'll wait and I'll give when I'm a millionaire." What are you waiting for?
Yep.
You may
Now's
not
the
make
time.
it to that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't wait, just do it. Do it now.
Do it now, exactly as Brad said. So guys, with that being said, again, please go donate to that GoFundMe. Let's come together. Let's do some good. Let's honor Chadwick's legacy by not only just honoring him and celebrating him here, but by actually taking action that'll help make the world a better place. So with that being said, I love you guys 3000. I thank you guys for watching this episode, this episode of Supes Disputes, where me and Brad came together to honor, remember, and celebrate the legacy of the late and great Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace, rest in power, Chadwick. I know you're watching down on us right now, and you probably have the biggest, most contagious smile as you did when you were on the same planet as us. But just know, we love you 3000. We thank you for the life that you led, as it inspired us all. And now we make the decision to be greater, to live as you did, with passion, purpose, and love that you did. So thank you guys for watching this video. I love you guys 3000, and we will see you guys next week for our next episode of Supes Disputes.